It's a Victory Monday in and around and outside of Baltimore, and we welcome you inside the vault for a Ravens Lunch Hour live stream. It is the 15th of September. I'm Bobby Trossett. This is Sarah Ellison, and today's live stream is brought to you by our friends at Gumtree. Of course, if you don't know anything about Gumtree, we're going to tell you about them in just a bit. They are a state-of-the-art training and recreational facility in Owings Mills, Maryland, right around the corner from One Winning Drive, where the Ravens facility is. And you can learn more if you want to get a head start on them and cash in on the perk that we have for you here as VAULTRONs. Go visit the show notes, pinned comment, ticker. We got all the information coming up on Gumtree, and we've got a lot of content, too, in the meantime for you after the Ravens smother the Browns. You made a funny joke in our pre-show call. Bobby, why did you go with Ravens run away from the Browns in our post-game show title last night when they rushed for 47 yards? And I said to myself, ooh, I don't know. I'll chalk that one up to game day brain mush, I guess. But we've got a lot to get to. Myles Garrett, Sarah, was dejected post-game. He is an unbelievable player, will unquestionably, I'm sure, be in the conversation for Defensive Player of the Year yet again. It seems like that's a universal sort of belief every single year from 95. But he called out what he felt like was an embarrassing loss to the Ravens last night at post-game podium. Lamar Jackson, meanwhile, quietly making NFL history. Stop us if you've heard that before. The mentor-mentee relationship that we're learning about seems like it's a budding, blossoming relationship between Devontae Walker and 33-year-old DeAndre Hopkins. Some film study included in that as well. Quick hits, super chats. Awesome show today that we have planned for you. Thanks so much for being here, and it's great to see you, partner.
Good to see you with your clean look over there. You've clearly shaved overnight. So that's a different look, and that film study will be fun. Really, it's just watching Lamar Jackson and all of his phenomenal throws, his touchdowns, plus the big one to Zay. But first, Bobby, we need to talk about the AFC North because things are not looking good for some of the Ravens' opponents. Very, very big time. But we're going to start with the Browns because it was the Browns at the Ravens in Myles Garrett's words, embarrassing. But we have to remember, look at how they feel over here. This is the dog at the dog's pound who kind of recapped what was going on. I mean, the game plan was right in the Cleveland Browns' hands. He points out that the Browns held Derrick Henry to 23 yards, held Lamar Jackson to just 2 rushes for 13 yards. Lamar didn't really try to run too much. They ran 19 more plays, meaning the Browns did, Browns outgained the Ravens by 80 yards. Browns converted 4 more third downs, but they lost by 24 points. Bobby, oftentimes I feel like the Ravens are on the other side of this, just like last week against the Bills. So how is it that the Browns lose? Well, 2 main categories, turnovers and points. That's what it is at the end of the day. And that is why Myles Garrett said it was an embarrassing outing. This is just week 2, and the Browns are already embarrassed.
Embarrassing. And we got to be better on defense. Embarrassing. And we got to be better on defense. We got to be better as a team. They slowly chipped away. We did a solid job, holding it to 3 when we could, and then eventually, the dam broke, and then they just did whatever they wanted, and we have to continue to play a 60-minute game.
Yeah, if you're wondering why you couldn't necessarily make out the first word, it's because the Browns made sure to censor it because it was the S word, and he was not pleased. And he went on to, of course, as you heard there, and as you see here, which I transcribed, just straight up said, hey, this shiz, let's call it shiz, I guess, is embarrassing. They slowly chipped away. Eventually the dam broke, and they just did whatever they wanted. Almost demoralizing, Sarah, coming from a player who wasn't any of his fault. It wasn't for a lack of trying from 95. Take a listen, and I should say a look or a listen to me going back through and revisiting his stat line. 5 tackles, 2 of which were solo from 95, but that was, the bare minimum in terms of what he actually brought to the table. He had a sack and a half, 2 tackles for loss, 2 quarterback hits. The guy was a problem. And when you look at the pressures that Cole Jackson always tallies up the day after, look at the overall pressures allowed by the Ravens. Ronnie Stanley had himself a difficult day. He allowed 5 pressures. And, of course, he was lined up right there opposite Myles Garrett for the majority of that game. They moved him around a little bit. Derrick Henry and Tyler Linderbaum, according to PFF, and Cole's tallying up here, were recorded for 3 pressures allowed. Andrew Voorhees had 2. Shockingly, Rosengarten and Faalele walk out with 0 pressures allowed. But this was a really tough assignment, Sarah, for Ronnie Stanley. We knew that going in. He had played Myles tough over the years. Yesterday was not one of it was one of those tough assignments that ended up going in Myles' favor for sure. And if it's not for some defensive turnovers created, and of course some special teams and Lamar Jackson's arm, yesterday could have been a lot tighter than it ended up being final score wise.
Well, and here's the thing is, I would feel badly for Myles Garrett if he hadn't just caved because the Browns brought him a ton of money. Remember, he was saying he wanted out. He wanted to go elsewhere. Then all of a sudden, the Browns backed up the Brinks truck. And like that, he flipped his tune and he was like, okay, yeah, no, I do think we do have playoff or Super Bowl hopes. I do think we can be good. And they were like, well, how did they change your mind? Was it the money? He's like, no, it was the meeting we had. And they're like, well, what did they tell you? What's going to happen at quarterback? And he's like, you'll see. So he puts on this whole show as if it wasn't. And I don't hate any player that you have generational money. You're going to set up not only your life, but generations down the road. So there's no hate there whatsoever. But I also don't feel sorry for him because the entire league would love to have him on their team. He knows who he's getting in bed with. He knows who his business partners are, all the metaphors that you want to have. And so in that first half, he seemed like a one-man wrecking ball in that first half. The Ravens were able to flip the script through special teams and defense. And plus, the Ravens started figuring out how to beat them through the air. Lamar Jackson, we'll get to that film in a minute, was sensational through the air along with his receivers. And so they were able to minimize his impact. And, sorry, I'm not sorry. You could have left the Browns had you really wanted to.
Man, this dude, you got to wonder if in his mind when he signed, was he looking ahead at sort of the quarterback prospects for 2026 coming out of college, thinking to himself, well, we're probably going to be picking top 5 again unless something miraculous happens. And who knows? We're only 2 weeks into the season. You never know. They obviously need to get a look, Sarah, at their rookie quarterbacks that they have in that room, like we discussed at the end of yesterday's show. But I just can't imagine in his mind that he legitimately thought, put the lip service stuff aside and the team friendly stuff and the way that he handled his media sessions, which has always been impeccable, right? He's got one real blemish on his resume, and that's it. And that was the helmet toss. And I should say the helmet scissor or whatever you want to call it of Mason Rudolph several years ago that, of course, led to not only a suspension, but a big temper tantrum. And that followed him for a long time. Sure seems like, though, that while that's the only blemish, this is a high character guy.
Yeah.
This is somebody that wants to turn around the Cleveland Browns, but obviously it's easier said than done. And it can't just be one player on the defensive side of the ball. But this is probably a team, Sarah, that's going to be picking top 5 in April, like Zach Jackson told us in our game preview at the end of last week. And if that is indeed the case, they're probably going to be bringing another quarterback in. And all of a sudden he's looking at it like, yeah, with incredible generational money and a perennial Pro Bowler, perennial All-Pro, perennial candidate for Defensive Player of the Year. But for what? If you play to win the game, what is all of this for? And you hate to see that for a player of his caliber. It's kind of like Mike Trout in baseball. These guys have gotten mega millions, mega superstar contracts. And what did they have to show for it in terms of overall winning, hardware, so on and so forth? It's a darn shame that Mike Trout really hasn't played much in the postseason at all for the Angels over the years. And it's a darn shame that Myles Garrett won't be playing in the postseason, barring something, again, miraculous in the imminent future.
Well, now, so the Cleveland Browns are 0-2. They're 0-2 with their overall record, and they are 0-2 in the division because they've lost to the Ravens and the Bengals the week before. And speaking of the Bengals, there are some updates from the last time we were live last night. We knew that there was an injury to Joe Burrow. We've got a little bit more information. According to Adam Schefter, he's going to need toe surgery that will sideline him a minimum of 3 months. Bobby, 3 months from yesterday was December 14th. And, he goes on to say that images of Joe Burrow's turf toe injury are being sent to noted foot specialist Dr. Robert Anderson to be reviewed. If surgery is deemed necessary, it would be expected, like we said, to sideline him for 3 months. Burrow was in a walking boot and on crutches after the game. And Bobby, this is yet another injury on top of a long string of them. As Ari Mirov pointed out, you've got in 2020, he tore his ACL, MCL, PCL, and meniscus, missed the rest of the season. 2021, he dislocated his pinky. I believe that game when he dislocated it was against the Ravens. I remember him trying to throw the ball on the sideline. 2022 had an MCL sprain. 2023 had the torn wrist ligament and missed the rest of the season there. And now in 2025, he's got that grade 3 turf toe out for those 3 months, like we discussed. And so, Bobby, when you have these two AFC North teams, one is 0-2, and yes, the Bengals are 2-0, but they've now lost their franchise quarterback, who, when he is healthy and gets his team to the playoffs, is in the MVP conversation also. And so I've noticed this morning, and it's not a crazy take, a lot of national media pundits saying that both the Bengals and the Browns season are over after week 2. I want to get your reaction on the other end.
Bengals survive without Joe Burrow. Let's deem surviving as making the playoffs.
No, they couldn't make the playoffs last year with Joe Burrow. 8 more wins in order to pull that off. I just don't see Jake Browning being good enough to be able to do that.
I mean, the season's over in terms of what they would hope to do. So much of what they do is based on Burrow being remarkable. And so, listen, that's not just a Cincinnati thing. You'd say the same thing in Buffalo or in Kansas City or in Baltimore, right?
When are we going to look and alter what the hell we do offensively? Number one, it should be protection first. You have an unbelievable quarterback, MVP-type quarterback every year he plays. How about we try to protect this man? He's been hit, 31 more times than any other quarterback. His offensive line gets beat like a drum all the time. How about we end up leaving guys in for protection? How many damn receivers do we need out there? You got 2 great ones. Like, protect this kid at all cost moving forward. You need to.
This is your fate. Mm-hmm. This is your fate. This is, Ocho, let's be real. This is what's going to happen in Cleveland.
Unless something miraculously happens, we do know that Joe Flacco can go on a run offensively.
It's over, Ocho.
He can give you four.
It's over.
You watched
him today. It's over.
Oh yeah, today. But you got to understand who they playing against now. You're playing against a division opponent that knows you very well. Let me ask you a question. What you like to do?
When he was in Cleveland the first time, why didn't they keep him if he was the guy? He went to Indy. Why didn't they keep him if he was the guy? He went to the Jets.
You know the direction.
Why didn't they keep him if he was the guy?
You know why? I'm not saying he's the guy. I'm not saying he's the guy, but it's what you had to deal with right now. And they definitely don't want to. They definitely don't want to make a move that early. The quarterback number 2, because basically what you're telling your team is we waving the white flag and we throwing it all in, and we're gonna worry about starting our future right now.
I ain't got a flag. I got a sheet. I got anything that's white, and I'm waving it.
And I'm waving it. Lots of good points in there. We can talk about the different points, but Bobby, isn't it fair to say, with the way things are looking in week 2, yes, anything can happen, but the Bengals and the Browns, are their seasons over, meaning they're not going to make the playoffs?
Cleveland's was over before it started. Cincinnati's is hanging on what's something that's thin.
A string?
it's
a thread?
I mean, it is razor thin right now in Cincinnati. And if I'm Bengals ownership in all seriousness, I'm getting on the phone with Kirk Cousins people and his representatives because I'm bringing him to Cincinnati. And that's no indictment against Jake Browning. The guy, it's small sample size, less than 10 games, but he's an above 500 quarterback when in relief for Joe Burrow in the past. And so he's one of the more serviceable, capable backups. But I'm calling Kirk Cousins. 3 months, you mentioned it. You know what's relevant about the date that you said? Yesterday was the 14th, right? And so if there's a 3-month timeline on Joe, and it looks like he is going to have to undergo this surgery, as we just discussed earlier on, 3 months marks the following, why it's significant for the Ravens. The first time these two teams play is Thanksgiving night, as we discussed last night. That's Thursday, November 27th. It's in Baltimore. They will play those same Cincinnati Bengals 2 weeks later, so twice within a 3-week time frame from week 13, Thanksgiving night, to week 15. December 14th is when they're scheduled to play the Bengals the second time. So that's just a timeline that I don't know. Is that a lofty timeline? Could be, depending on the timeline, recovery and the rehab and how he responds to surgery and so on and so forth. I mean, there is so much up in the air for Joe Burrow, but there's a darn good chance if this takes, I mean, there's still reports out there, Sarah, this could be a straight up season ender. And so if that's the case, Ravens have a chance to face up, which you hate, right? You hate that from a competitive spirit standpoint. The fact that this will be a watered down Bengals team by the time the Ravens get to them. They could very well be out of the playoffs by then. We'll have to see how they choose to handle this. But you heard what Rex Ryan had to say. He talked about this from a offseason strategizing standpoint. And you and me both know that Joe Burrow got up, as he should have, right, as the leader that he is of that team, and advocated hard and loudly for his two playmakers to get big-time contracts. And the knee was bent, right? The Bengals bent the knee, and they paid T. Higgins, and they paid Jamar Chase. Joe Burrow is injury-prone, Sarah, and the reason why he is, one of the key reasons, is this stat that Adam Schefter played on that exact segment on Get Up this morning. Take a look at their pass protection and where they've ranked league-wide since drafting Burrow in 2020. This is pass block win rate according to ESPN research. Wow. I mean, for the audio-only audience, this is bottom third of the league every single year. 29th in 2020, 30th in 21, 30th in 22, 27th in 23, dead last year in 24, and so far this year, 28th. I mean, look, there was reasoning for Lamar being injury prone, as they said he was, Sarah, in 21 and 22. It should be just as loud now. There's always a reason as to what leads a player down the injury prone labeled path. This is one of the main ones right here, an indictment against what they've done offensively around him, not from a playmaking standpoint, from a protection standpoint of their biggest asset.
Right. And Rex Ryan, while he makes a great point about them needing to protect him and protect him at all costs, it's also one of those things that they may need to protect Joe Burrow from himself. If he is like, pounding the table for his wide receivers and they say, and who knows where else they're going to spend the money, but you kind of wanted to see him maybe pound the table for, I don't know, not that the Ravens were going to let him out there, but Ronnie Stanley, like, go out and make sure that Ronnie Stanley wants to leave, or whatever offensive linemen are out there, like go and pay them. And I feel that we feel the same way in Baltimore, right? The Ravens have a better offensive line than the Bengals have, but we're always looking at Daniel Fa'alele, and it's just like, it's one play away. It's one play away. Again, after that Bills game where we saw him put around in a blender looking for work and couldn't ever find it. And it's just like, it's just one play away. And you just want to see, when you have a franchise quarterback, you want to see teams, yes, protect them at all costs. But in this case, again, it's like with Myles Garrett. Can you feel too bad if he's pounding the table for receivers as opposed to offensive linemen? So yeah, listen, I mean, short of a miracle for either of these two teams, like, I just don't see how they're not going to finish number 3 and 4. And again, if the Ravens, and I don't hate to put this out in the air, but if the Ravens had lost Lamar Jackson, you'd be saying the same thing.
Oh, of course.
You just can't survive when you lose somebody of that caliber. Yeah. And here's the thing. Did you say, so 3 months from when he was injured was December 14th. Did you say the Ravens are scheduled to play the Bengals on December 14th?
Correct. In the second, it'll mark the second time in 3 weeks that they've played them. And you want to know the team that's sprinkled in between those two?
The Browns?
Pittsburgh.
Oh, Pittsburgh. Okay, of course. That's crazy, though. So here's the thing is, let's say he does recover and he could play December 14th. If somehow Jake Browning, or in your scenario, Kirk Cousins or somebody they trade for, has them in position, then sure, bring them back. But Bobby, if they're like super shy, several games shy of making the playoffs, even if he's healthy, why would you bring him back? There'd be no reason to subject him to that and do that. And so for that reason, it's so hard to expect any quarterback. I mean, it's week 2 to keep them afloat for that long. I just don't think it's going to happen. And Bobby, before the season started, the Ravens were already overwhelming AFC North favorites.
Yeah.
These developments, along with the Steelers being trounced yesterday by the Seahawks, and again, it's a week-to-week league, so things could change. I don't see how the Ravens aren't even boosted even higher in terms of being the AFC North favorites and going to the playoffs.
One counter perspective here, I suppose, is a fair way of saying it before we get to super chats. And a live read from Gumtree comes from Andrew Hawkins. He's now on ESPN. He's a former NFL wide receiver. And as he tweeted out in response to Joe Burrow's timeline and some of the news reports that were coming out last night, he said in 2013, which was a contract year for him, I hurt my ankle in training camp with the Bengals. The team doctor and trainers scheduled me in season, needed season-ending surgery in season. My agent and I went and got a second opinion from Dr. Anderson, who said surgery wasn't necessary and I could be back by week 6. He was right. Still hope, Bengals fans. But again, I think it's a glimmer of hope, Sarah, that from Andrew Hawkins. So
I'll just say this because I appreciate that hope for Bengals fans. And, I hope that for Joe Burrow too. I'll just say this. We've seen careers end off of turf toe is what we call it. And people are like, whatever, it's a toe. Jonathan Ogden, who's one of the toughest players I know, didn't want to continue to fight through turf toe and retired way earlier than Ozzie Newsome and the rest of us expected.
Yeah.
And so I don't know, if you've got ligaments torn in there and all that kind of stuff, I hope he can make it back. But we've seen careers end with these type of injuries.
Gosh, it really, seriously, from a competitive spirit standpoint and knowing how competitive this division was probably going to be had he stayed healthy, really being a 3-team race between Cincy, Baltimore, and Pittsburgh, it's a bummer that it could very well end up being a 2-team race when all is said and done. Or maybe if you're a Ravens fan out there, you're rejoicing that it's just a 2-man race or a 2-team race. Particularly,
you can rejoice in the race without rejoicing in the injury.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Although what Pittsburgh put on film, what have you done for me lately? Yesterday, maybe it's a 1-team race when all is said and done. We'll have to see. The Ravens obviously have a lot more to earn throughout the next 15 weeks. Thanks to Gumtree, our newest brand sponsor. It is a state-of-the-art training and recreational facility, Sarah, right down the road from where you spent 10-plus years of your career. I'm talking about 86,000 square feet, 46 different lanes. It offers the size and amenities of a country club while also still being open to the public. And their mission is pretty simple: safety, education, and training for all skill levels from beginners all the way up to professionals. You're taking a look at the website right now in our screen share tool. For those of you that are in the audio only audience, there's a specific link that'll take you to Gumtree.com in the show notes. And for those of you in the YouTube space, we also have a pinned comment for you. And there's a bunch of information in the show notes as there is on the scrolling ticker. And Sarah, when you take a look at this website, it's actually overwhelming how much these guys do. And Brian Wolf and his team and his family, I mean, this is a family-run business. It's right in Owings Mills. It's easy to get to if you live in Baltimore County, really easy to get to if you're even in, gosh, you could be in PA, right on the line there in York. You could be in Baltimore City. I mean, it's worth a shot to take a look at literally everything they have going on. Firearm training and firearm services. You can get trained to be a security guard in a couple days. You've got archery training. You can literally plan your visit down to the detail. I feel like, Sarah, if you were in the area, why do I feel like Gardner and Aiden would just be all over the simulator reservation? Like when you click on this and toggle over, football, soccer, baseball, hockey, frisbee, and cornhole. I mean, take your pick here. The boys would be losing their minds, and we feel like we were back at Top Golf in Columbus, like we were together in April at the Vault Summit.
Absolutely. Any like video game interaction like this simulator, for sure the boys would love this. And remind me, Bobby, is this in Owings Mills or nearby? Where are we located?
Yeah, it's right around the corner from the facility, right in Owings Mills.
That's awesome. Right around the corner. I wouldn't be surprised if a few players have stopped by there and enjoyed an afternoon and whatnot, because there's so much to do and it seems like you could spend all day there.
Right. And look at Tactical Precision Training LLC chiming in. I brought my son there when he was 3 years old, and it was safe for him to be there. And that's the feeling that I got too. I've been out there several times. Brian Wolf and I, really good friends. I just think it's the place is immaculate. And here's the incentive in there, a little perk, if you will, for VAULTRONs. They're going to give you a free firearm rental with a lane purchase if you use the promo code upon arrival, VAULT25, or you can just go on site on the website with that specific link that we have pinned right now in our live chat. That does not include ammo, but again, you can secure a free firearm rental with a lane purchase using our promo code VAULT25. You've got multiple indoor ranges, 25-yarder, 100-yarder. Both of them feature electronic target retrieval systems. The 100-yard lanes include 5 target cameras for real-time feedback. I mean, this is a big-time experience. And they also wanted to pass along a quick note as well. You can register now for a free firearm cleaning class, which is scheduled at Gumtree in Owings Mills this coming Friday. That's September 19th, this coming Friday from 6 to 8 p.m. We have the registration link readily available for you in the show notes. You can follow them across all social platforms as well, including Instagram. Again, the Instagram handle, I'll pull it up real quick, is Gumtree Maryland. Over 6,000 followers and counting. We really appreciate them for supporting the channel. And you guys know the drill, I think, by now. When you support, particularly when it comes to our local sponsors, when you support our local folks, you're directly supporting the show. It's just how it goes. It goes hand in hand. Thanks to Gumtree for the continued support. And let's rip through some super chats before we get back to the football content. DHB Senior, as he says, is in the house. Let's go 19-1 with a little hashtag to follow. Eric Hill, good morning to you, Sarah.
He says, good morning, Voltrons. In case no one tells you today that they love you, just know that I do. 1 week away from being at the bank. Hashtag 6K for LJ. Hashtag stop the 22. Hashtag vault.
Oh, I can't. I have to tell you, Sarah, I'm going to continue to say it all week long. I'm really excited for Monday night. I just, when Sundays become such a work-related event for years running now, even longer for you. You've covered this team for close to 2 decades. And is it over 2 decades at this point?
I started at the Ravens in 2005, so it's the 20-year anniversary for me.
Wow, that's insane.
Yeah.
And I'm like coming up on 10, close to it, somewhere around there. And when your Sundays become work, like which you choose to do, that's what you commit to. Any chance you get to just go and be a spectator every once in a while, I'm really looking forward to it. And that's coming up on Monday night. Eric has gifted 5 additional channel memberships on top of that super chat. And DHB Senior goes stride for stride with him, like DeAndre Hopkins and any DB apparently in the last couple of weeks, yet he still finds a way to haul it in. We're going to have great content coming up on he and his mentee, Devontae Walker. Holly Keefe says, same mindset, same goal, new week, run the Lions out of the bank. As Roe would say, let's go. DJP has gifted 5 channel Voltrons on this Victory Monday. What's going on, Devin? And Laura Dillander, Sarah, celebrating 6 months with us.
Says we have to protect Lamar better. We have to shore up the O-line to keep our QB healthy. Henry was the best O-line in the game. Love the win. Keep it going.
Oh, Sherry says,
we just saw what happened with another QB that wasn't protected. So yeah, sorry. Go ahead with Sherry.
Yes, we did. Nice compliment to you from Sherry. Sarah, side note, you look so pretty yesterday.
Thank you, Sherry. Yeah,
DJP.
I was feeling my Sunday best. I didn't change out of it yesterday.
I pretty much told you that without telling you that when we got on the postgame. I was like, oh, you look nice today with the whole floral and dress from church. I mean, very bright, vibrant. Not a super chat, but welcome back to Steve Loop, and congratulations to Tyler making his kicks yesterday. Steve is the father of rookie kicker. That's rookie place kicker, Tyler Loop. And he's in the Discord, Sarah, mixing it up, loving his first regular season experience in Baltimore. There's nothing like it. A home opener, 80 degrees, Ravens legends everywhere, 30-year anniversary, and of course a win on top of that. Sod Blitz for you.
Burrow was my fantasy quarterback. I changed my team's name yesterday to Can I Burrow a Q? I don't know why this is funny. Can I burrow a QB? It's going to be a long season.
Oceans writes, like Rex said, people don't say it's Burrow's fault, even though the Bengals don't run the ball enough to allow their defense to breathe and protect Burrow. Tyler's celebrating 3 months, Sarah.
Says, I'm a 3-time Vault giftee. Here comes 5 more from me to the Voltrons. Bobby, can you quietly say, Mother the Meatloaf, I bid thee?
Can you quietly say? I guess that's not asking for too much. Mother the Meatloaf, I bid thee. Thank you for your super chats and your gifts, Tyler. And look at your dog in the profile photo. What a sweetie. God King. Oh, we got a little birthday celebration in the house. And finally, Sarah, God King has become, he has, I think he's actually, I just went back and forth with him last night, or maybe it was this morning, but he was our homage winner, our giveaway winner from week 1. And apparently today it is a birthday in order for God King. So happy birthday to you, God King. Log JR50 for you.
Says, why do we talk so much about Daniel when Voorhees looks so much worse? SMH. That's where we need an upgrade. He has no anchor. We could talk about Voorhees, but I don't know. Some of those plays are just so highlight reel blooper kind of worthy from Alele. But we should look into those grades for Voorhees.
Well, I can tell you this. Femi and I have already been texting about it today. Not a good graded out day ranking-wise, PFF-wise for Andrew Voorhees, starting left guard. And what was the second part of this, God King? Is that a Cash App? Wait a second. Today is God King's birthday, and then there's a Cash App handle. I don't know what that is, but maybe you guys do. Wanted to make sure I acknowledged
maybe he's asking for Cash App money for his birthday. I don't know.
I don't know what's going on there, but I wanted to make sure I acknowledged it. Captain Hard says, speedy recovery for Joe, but I'll take all the easy wins we can get. Buffalo's schedule is literally a cakewalk, and they thrashed Jake Asman's New York Jets yesterday. Goodness gracious. Runnix
says, turf toe is serious. Deion Sanders retired early because of it as well, and we know the athlete he was. Well, I hope that doesn't happen to Joe Burrow. I'd like to see him have a long career.
Mike M says, Rose saw these Sloquan comments because he was moving. Yes, he was moving. And we'll have more on that from Devontae Walker once we get to that segment. Daryl Winston says, I don't care about no competitive spirit. No one ever mentions that Lamar was out for the season when Joe Burrow went to the Super Bowl. USMC, be more, Sarah.
Don't write checks that your you-know-what can't cash. Let's go flock.
Winstones Chronicles 1999. That's an orange banner. If we continue to play complimentary football like we did yesterday, we're going to the Super Bowl. Let's go Ravens. #Vault. Eric Hill on a Monday.
Currently driving and loading my truck at the moment. I left an email, Bobby and Sarah. We got it, Eric. We're going to do the giveaway this week.
Yep, and we have to read it in full. At least I haven't yet. So thanks to Eric for sending that out, and thanks in advance for a giveaway. Some good tickets, by the way. We're talking about hundreds. That's Lower Bowl coming up on Monday night against the Lions. Mark Wigg is celebrating 2 months. Okay, defense, show us you are the real deal against the top 10 offense, and that they are, Sarah. They put up a 50-burger yesterday against the Chicago Bears, did the Detroit Lions. The Bears are the Bears, but still 50 is 50, 52 to be exact. Bobby and Sarah, you are the best vault keepers ever. Keep it up. P.S. Bobby, I missed your pregame show. Mark, just so you know, I'm obviously not doing the Be More Around Town tailgate show this year. I am in talks with them about a game or two here and there, but I am still doing a virtual pregame show. Thanks for your channel membership commitment to us, Mark. DreDog679
says, I know one thing. Playing the Lions, we cannot play 7 to 9 yards off their wide receivers. They will kill the defense. He's referring to the soft coverage we've seen the Ravens be in a little bit too frequently.
Oof, and a complimentary duo, Dre Dog. You know they have that in Detroit. Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jameson Williams, tons of playmakers littered throughout Jared Goff's offense. Again, they hung a 52 spot on the Chicago Bears in Ben Johnson's first game against his former team, Sarah. Of course, he's the new head coach of the Chicago Bears. Great to have you guys with us on a Monday. Over 2,500 concurrents and counting. If you could on the way in, please like the video, subscribe, hit that notification bell, consider becoming a channel member or gift-giving membership, and we continue to get Vault merch interest from anybody and everybody. TheVaultPod.com/shop is where you can gift yourself or a friend or a family member or whoever a piece of Vault merch. It's our new apparel line that we dropped back in July, and it's all available to you in the show notes below. Pass the baton off to you. Let's talk about number 8.
Number 8 is quietly making NFL history, Bobby. There's been some tweets about it, but I haven't heard a lot of talk about it nationally. What are we talking about? Yes, he had another 4-touchdown game, which I believe is the most of any quarterback. But something bigger than that, Lamar Jackson is currently, just think about this, given where we were from the draft and what people were saying about Lamar Jackson. He currently has the highest, number 1, at the top of the mountain. Nobody is higher, the highest career passing rating in NFL history. Bobby, he edged out Aaron Rodgers, who has a 102.60 career passer rating. Lamar Jackson has a 102.65 career passer rating. This man, who everybody called a running back, this man who former NFL GM said that he should switch positions and become a wide receiver at the combine. This man is number 1 in NFL history in career passing rating. Bobby, the formula to come up with that passer rating can be sometimes very confusing and perplexing and all of that. But this I can tell you. To have a high career passer rating does not include what he does with his legs. That stat belongs to QBR. The QBR pulls in what a quarterback does both with his arm and legs. The passer rating is his arm only. But having said that, even though he is the highest in career passer rating, he also has the most career quarterback rushing yards in NFL history. And Bobby, it's not even close. He's like well over 400 more than Michael Vick. Michael Vick's retired. Lamar's just going to keep going. What we are witnessing, and we let sometimes the playoff stuff get in the way of it, but his career isn't over. What we are witnessing is greatness. It's right in front of our eyes. And he's playing here with us. It's in Baltimore. We have to enjoy this, soak it up. Don't let anybody steal your joy by pointing to the playoffs, because he's going to get over the hump eventually. But right now, we are in a golden era with Lamar Jackson with the Baltimore Ravens. He does it both with his arm and his legs. Greatest dual threat ever. If he gets the Super Bowl, he'll be just one of the greatest ever, period. But I want to hear more people in national media talking about this because this is a big deal. We are witnessing greatness.
Well said. The stat line from yesterday, by the way, 19 of 29, 225 yards, 4 touchdowns, no picks. He was sacked 3 times. You mentioned the QBR versus passer rating. The QBR was 70.5. Passer rating, 128.6. This was a day, Sarah, where early on, Lamar was off. There were errant throws. There were overthrows. He did not look particularly comfortable in the pocket. Maybe that was because he kept getting flushed out of the pocket because of this stellar defensive front led by Myles Garrett. But for him to finish with a passer rating of 128.6, where he was clearly not himself early on, it speaks to the way that he can in-game adjust, the way that he has developed as a quarterback in Baltimore within this system with Todd Monken. And look at the table this guy is sitting at, not just sitting at, but commanding at the top. He's got like the best part of the table, maybe, or the best dishes in front of him at the table. What a
the head of the table.
A Venn diagram, perhaps?
Yes, it is a Venn diagram, and it's from MGM Bet. They put it together. And sorry, I don't want to cut you off. You can go ahead and continue to explain it.
Well, no, somewhere in my elementary schools in upstate New York, my teachers are like, wow, he actually got that recall. Wow, what a shock that was that he actually knew what a Venn diagram was. Go ahead and tell us what it's all about.
Yeah, no, so the Bet MGM or MGM Bet, sorry, I don't know which one it is. Not a big gambler as we know, but they put the top 10 quarterbacks in passer rating since 2019. I don't know why not ever, but they put 2019 on the left. And then they've got the top 10 in rushing yards on the right. And look at the company he has on the left with some of these quarterbacks. You've got Joe Burrow in there. You've got Kirk Cousins. You've got Patrick Mahomes. You've got Aaron Rodgers, Russell Wilson, Dak Prescott. I mean, the list goes on and on. Some new up and comer with Jaden Daniels. Okay, so he's in the top 10 passer rating with all of those guys.
Yeah.
And then look on the right where he's got all these running backs, Derrick Henry included, Saquon Barkley. I mean, you could just go on and on and on. Is Gibbs in here? I mean, it just keeps going on. And it's like, you got all the best running backs in the league to his right. You got all the best quarterbacks in terms of passing to his left. And he's in the circle with both of them. It's really unreal. And people are going to be watching his highlights for years and years to come once he does finally retire, which hopefully it's not for another 10 or more years. And just going to be like, look at who this dude was, and look at the company he had on both his left and the right with quarterbacks and running backs.
Yeah. Oh man, you could just keep this conversation moving too, right? Because while it's like, you're right, not enough people are talking about it, but some are. And NFL on CBS, Cord McGinnis, 2 of those accounts that are, Sarah, acknowledging, right, this greatness personified here. How about the play action percentage? Up, big uptick from week 1 to week 2, 18.2%. In Buffalo, that was up to 33.3% against the Browns. And what Lamar has done on play action this season, pretty darn productive. 12 of 13, 187 yards, 4 touchdowns, no picks. You've already mentioned the top tweet, right? He's currently the all-time leader in NFL history in passer rating. He's got the most rushing yards in history for a quarterback. We know that he obviously passed, as you alluded to, the Michael Vick record last year. And let's go more into the data. Next Gen Stats tracked all 4 of Lamar's touchdown passes. They targeted a receiver over 10 yards downfield. Since the start of 24, Lamar has thrown 32 touchdown passes over 10 air yards. That's 10 more than the next closest QB, and it's about one that we just discussed earlier on in the show. Joe Burrow has got 22. You look at the passing chart right there. He spreads this thing out. He is the John Stockton of the National Football League, Sarah. And you have to be when you have this many weapons that you have to feed and that you have to keep pleased. That's Todd Monken's job. That's Lamar Jackson's job. Let's go deeper on those 10-plus yard throws against Cleveland specifically. PFF took a look. 8 of 13, 153 passing yards. This is precision, man. This is surgical. 4 touchdowns, no picks, a passer rating of 142. And again, this is with This is a perfect passer rating with the issues that he had early on in the same game. And knowing that the ground game was not something that he had at his disposal yesterday just makes this game from a passing standpoint that much better. Because, Sarah, they sold out to stop the run. They dared Lamar and Todd Monken to beat them through the air, and the Ravens responded.
Well, and that's why they used the play auction so much, is they were selling out to stop Derrick Henry. That's a fine game plan. But what you forgot is Lamar can throw like this. Lamar can throw like this, 142 passer rating on passes of 10 yards or more down the field. We're not talking about checkdowns. We're not talking about dink and dunk kind of offense. This is crazy talk. 4 touchdowns to 0 interceptions and 142 passer rating on that. That's crazy. And so that's why it was funny to me, Bobby, and I don't even care. I'm just living in this. But I noticed that the Bills fans showed up again somehow. And I think it was because Josh Allen didn't have the most statistically exciting game yesterday, although they got their win, of course. But one of these Bills fans retweets one of Lamar's plays and says, LOL, is Lamar Jackson in late in the fourth, up by 24 and still throwing? Interesting. So I don't know if you guys follow. It's kind of fun. Jackson Muse, there's an account that just is pretty much all Lamar all the time. And he retweets it and says, well, let's see here. Ravens play conservative with the lead last week and blow a 15-point lead under 5 minutes, mind you. And people say Lamar's a choke artist. Okay, let's fast forward it to week 2. Ravens play aggressive and make sure the game is over. And now people are saying Lamar's a stat patter. Lamar can't win with the haters. And listen, you tell me, is touchdowns that are all 10 yards or more, is that stat padding? Because to me, stat padding is when you have to rush it in from the 1. Okay. Stat padding is when you're making easy throws, easy runs when it's set up by somebody else. You better believe the Ravens can and will from now on. At least they better. Don't make me look bad, Todd Monken and John Harbaugh. You better continue this trend where you keep the foot on the gas. You keep the proverbial, well, I just knocked down my light again from banging over here. You keep the foot on the proverbial jugular. You keep doing that because, as we discussed, once you start to a body in motion stays in motion, a body that slows down and stops, it's harder to get it going. The Ravens play better when they are aggressive. And if it's going to make people like Bills fans or maybe Browns fans or whoever else upset, we're going to live in that world because we cannot live in a world where they give up double-digit leads anymore. We're done with that. These are high-degree difficulty passes that he is completing, and he is hitting his receivers in the perfect spot where it has to be. Call it stat padding. I don't care. The Ravens are going to finish and keep the foot on the pedal.
One stat padding opportunity that Lamar had, Sarah, that would have been easy money that comes to mind from yesterday's game is the 4th and 2 to Devontae Walker. I mean, there was a clear lane given Lamar's elusiveness and speed and vision. He could have taken that right into the end zone, but instead he fires one to Devontae Walker in the back of the end zone. 4th and 2. Great decision there. Great aggressiveness by John Harbaugh. And so, I mean, there's so many different ways, especially last year, Sarah, where Lamar takes the whole stat padding opportunity or stat padding conversation and says, up yours. I'm playing team-friendly football. I'm playing what makes most sense any given play. And here you have it in the spirit of tallying up through 2 weeks as the 33rd team did. Here it is. They call it an annual recurring tweet. Lamar looks like an MVP candidate again this year. He's got 7 touchdowns through 2 weeks, Sarah. No turnovers, 9 yards per attempt, an EPA per dropback of 0.35, which measures efficiency and overall performance, a rating, meaning a passer rating of 136.6, and a completion percentage of 68.8. So 2 weeks in, great start for Lamar. Great start for the Ravens. And as you put it best, I think, off the top, make sure you appreciate the moment that we're being witness to right now because Lamar is on a historic run, and it's only year 8, and he ain't even 30 yet.
And let's appreciate this day a little bit more, Bobby. Just look at these. Look at these precision throws. This one is the let me see if I can look at this here. This one is the quarter 2, 4th and this is 2-1 in quarter 2. This is after Tylan Wallace just recovered a fumble by Derrick Henry, and it was after the blocked punt. And that's really, we got to give it up to Jake Kummel and the special teams for getting things going. But Lamar fakes again the play action. We saw that it was 33%. Fakes the play action. Everybody bites to Derrick Henry. Great play called, Todd Monken. You knew they were selling out. Let's use it against them. So they all go after Derrick. Here's Lamar with pressure in his face. Number 57, not a small dude, not a short dude. His hands are up. Lamar lays it still perfectly in the breadbasket for Tylan Wallace. Let's go to quarter 3 with 13:43 left. This is 2nd and 6. This is the first one to DeAndre Hopkins where both Lamar Jackson and DeAndre looks sensational. Lamar starts to feel the pressure from whom? Myles Garrett, bull rushing Ronnie Stanley. He regains his ground a little bit, but he gets help from Lamar. Lamar goes back to the other side on the run, throws on the run, a beautiful pass in the absolute breadbasket, and DeAndre Hopkins, as we know, does the rest. How about in quarter 3 on 4-2? The Ravens need a score here, or it's a turnover on downs. Here he does find Devontae Walker this time. Let's go.
That's the one that I was referencing where he could have just ran it in, right?
Yeah, let's look back. I think it looks better from the other angle where he could have, but yeah, look at that lane right there. Now, could they have closed? There's number 9 and 49. Could they have closed? Maybe. Yeah. But I also wouldn't bet that Lamar couldn't get in.
Especially with momentum carrying him through. But absolute right decision. Yeah. Why put your body on the line? Devontae is right there. He's streaking in the back of the end zone, fires a strike, bang, 4th and 2, you cash in.
Boom, boom. Yes. How about this one with Zay Flowers? This one's not a touchdown. This one, the Ravens have to have. It's 3rd and 13. And the Ravens do not want to give up the ball here. Look at Lamar and his scrambling ability yet again as things are breaking down. And so he steps up in the pocket. Again, pressure on him. He gives a slight stiff arm. 96 still has his arms on his waist. Then he's on his knees. Lamar launches it. It's a little short because he's got 96 all over him. How he even got that throw off, I don't know. And Zay comes streaking back for his quarterback with a diving catch. Absolutely phenomenal. I love it when his playmakers make a play for him too. Lamar's working hard. You guys work hard. And that's when magic happens. How about this on 2nd and 14 in the 4th quarter? He's going to Devontae Walker again. He's actually got protection this time. Just beautiful. Those two just made it look easy with that speed. And then finally, here's the final one in quarter 4, 4:48 left. This is when everybody's like, oh, you're running up the score. Dang right we are. Here we go. Lamar Jackson, 2nd and 10, to Hopkins in the breadbasket yet again. DeAndre stands up with the shrugging shoulders. Absolute clinic, Lamar Jackson in that second half.
I got to run one back just because this play right here. Are you serious? I mean, come on. We got to watch this again. This is absurd. All right. It's a classic ragdoll scenario yet again for an opposing team's defensive lineman. And I honestly don't know what I'm more impressed with here. Lamar's ability to extend the play and fire a strike, or Zay as he's running literally in straight up improvisation mode, finding a way to corral this laser beam that comes in from Lamar, Sarah, and keep it from touching the turf. This is exceptional backyard stuff right here. This thing's going to play on a loop, matter of fact. Look at this right here. Are you kidding me? This is a 300-plus pound defensive lineman barreling down. It reminds you of Sam Hubbard, Sarah, last year. This is big-time stuff right here. This is one-of-one stuff. Somehow buys himself a half second, not even a half second, and fires a dot to Zay Flowers. Zay is diving. He somehow finds a way to corral that football. These two are an incredible duo. It's so much fun to watch. Lamar's stiff arm is one thing. The ability to extend the play is another. And then the other play, the fact that he can find a way to somehow laser beam this thing into Zay. This duo's got to start to be talked about more in terms of, and there's the still shot right there. But the duo's got to be talked about more, I think. They're absolutely a top 10 wide receiver quarterback duo, and I think the NFL probably will figure that out at some point in the next couple months.
Oh, we're fired up here. We're fired up in here. That was such a good game by Lamar. Yeah. And a shout out, though, because the offense was struggling. The special team stepped up. Defense stepped up with turnovers, 2 turnovers, and it helped get things going. And I appreciate the adjustments that they made in the play calling in the second half to allow Lamar to really, become who he is when the running game is stopped. That I think that the defense and Todd Monken finally came around and helped set him up to become who he is.
Air it out. When Denzel Ward went down, Sarah, that CB1 in Cleveland, it was clear that they were going after. And of course, his name escapes me right now. Mitchell, I think, Cameron Mitchell. And from there, it was clear. They came out of the half. They were going to test this thing vertically and see what Cleveland had to do in response. They continued to sell out to stop the run, and the Ravens made them pay, which is exactly what you do when you have that kind of depth in Baltimore and that kind of playmaking ability. Super chats or quick hits?
Oh, we can. Well, this is to set up the DeAndre and Devonta's talk. Do you want? Correct. Is that a quick hit or is that a topic?
Yeah, no, I think you're right. I think it's a topic. And because it is, maybe we get caught up to speed on super chats since we'll be here for a couple more minutes.
Sounds good. Good plan.
Awesome. Thank you. Douglas H. Brown Sr. says, I told one of my Walmart friends about the vault. I told him that you were the best because you give the fans real love. I think that's what it is, real love. And then he does go on to clarify, I was rushing to get my $5 super chat in. Real love. You're the man, DHB Sr. And thank you for telling the Walmart community about the vault. We love it. Kobe Pruitt, Sarah, checking in on a Monday.
Kobe. I think I enjoy everybody's super chats, but I always feel like Kobe has certain insight that speaks to me. He says 1 championship and Lamar automatically enters the GOAT conversation. Fact, Kobe. See, I didn't even read this and I knew I was going to like it. With Mahomes' recent decline, the convo about best quarterback this generation is not over.
Just to be clear, are you talking about all time or are we talking about of his generation there? Kobe also goes on to say, the way Lamar is playing, passing more and running less, could we see the first 50 pass touchdown season? It feels like something legendary is brewing. KB throwing out some lofty questions here. John Doe, Sarah, for you.
Brown's defense is vicious as you know what. Something GZ to them. GZ.
Quan says, give Lamar and Mahomes a deal. Give Lamar a Mahomes deal to free up cap space. What did Patrick get?
Remember he did a 10-year deal for, at the time, well, it was like $500 million, but that number was big when you look at it per season. It's actually a deal. I don't know that Lamar would sign something like that. Would he? I don't know.
Well, man, I mean, Mahomes was looked at, Sarah, years later after, right, as a bargain for Kansas City, which is why they've haven't they restructured twice already? Something along those lines.
Ooh, so Kansas City Chiefs?
They've done at least one restructure with Mahomes, I think.
I don't think they need to, because when you do a 10-year deal, yes, it was a lot at the time, but he's one of the cheapest quarterbacks right now. I don't think that they have.
I thought at one point they did a little something, but we can check that, revisit it at another time. We're fully caught up on super chats now, unless we want to take a quick look.
Well, I was just looking up Spot Rack. You Google that. I'm Googling something else to see where he is in terms of contract average. Patrick Mahomes is tied for number 14 right now with Kirk Cousins at $45 million. So I don't see why they would need to restructure. Maybe they did. Maybe they did.
They've done 2 restructures with him.
Okay, they have done 2 restructures. Okay.
Yep.
Well, he's at $45 million per year.
Yeah.
And Dak Prescott is number 1 right now at $60 million. Patrick Mahomes is $15 million less per year than Dak Prescott. Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, Trevor Lawrence, Jordan Love, all tied at number 2 with $55 million. Lamar is now at number 10 at $52 million. Woo!
Amazing how that works. Amazing.
Climb.
And think about it too. You know, Mahomes is taking a page out of Brady's book. What did he do all those years in New England to kind of keep things intact and give ownership so many opportunities to team build? I mean, he took some hometown discounts there towards the end of his time in not Green Bay, in New England. And we'll see what Lamar does. We know that's obviously a big domino that's yet to fall, Sarah. We thought that maybe, just maybe, before the season, something would come. You know it's not happening in season, barring something very unforeseen. But we'll see. Let's get to your snap count now that you had up a minute ago. And this is obviously, there's a lot to learn about snap counts, I'd say, week to week. And you had a few observations that you threw up on X earlier today.
Yeah, so we talked last night. We were very curious to see what the snap count was between Teddy Buchanan and Trenton Simpson. We had both seen Trenton Simpson, but we also knew that Teddy Buchanan started and was out there for the first 4 possessions. So it was like unclear with the naked eye with everything that we got going on, like what that snap count was. Bobby, boy, was it tilted in one direction. Teddy Buchanan on defense, this is not including special teams, on defense had 60 snaps to Trenton Simpson's 15. So it sure is looking like the Ravens are trending towards Teddy. We can see if it happens for another game or two. Maybe this was a 1-game scenario. I kind of hope not, because like we said, it feels like Teddy next to Roquan. Roquan looked like his best self yesterday, partially, I'm sure, because he's not dealing with injury like he was at the beginning of the last season, according to him. And is he feeling more comfortable with his running mate at the inside linebacker position? So 60-15, were you expecting that big of a tilt towards Teddy?
That's pretty steep. I wasn't sure maybe that it was going to be that big of a gap. But to your point, I think we all were pretty clear that that opening quarter went, that opening quarter and then some went to Teddy.
Mm-hmm.
I did see 32, I want to say in the second quarter, maybe more towards halftime. Again, it's so much is happening so quickly. So I was okay. Trenton is getting in the rotation, but it's a minor one. So yeah, maybe not to that gap, to that extent, Sarah, but clearly that they're comfortable with him. Roquan, to your point, is clearly comfortable with him, and he has won the coaches over. And as long as Roquan continues to play the way that he is, I mean, you got people on these apps in the Twitter space within the Ravens community saying that they feel like this is the best game that Roquan's put forth as a Raven. And I can think of some pretty star-studded games that he put forth in 2023 when we had the pleasure of having him on, semi-regularly inside the vault that year. So it's a great sign for him. It's a great sign for his overall conditioning, the physicality that he's bringing to the game, the relentlessness. I mean, Joe Burrow. Now, look, Jack Conklin was down. Okay, star tackle for them, veteran, that he did not play yesterday. And so that was a problem. And obviously Joe, doesn't have a ton of mobility, and this offense does not scare you when you stack it up against the Detroits, which are coming, and the Kansas Cities that'll follow, even though the Chiefs are looking pretty pedestrian right now at 0-2. But just a great sign moving forward for Roquan, and especially after a tough opening night for him in Buffalo.
And so moving on to outside linebacker, because we were curious how many snaps Mike Green got with Kyle Van Noy. Remember, he went down with a hamstring, didn't return. We'll get an update on that later today with John Harbaugh, but he said it would not be season ending. Any of the injuries yesterday, he said, are not even close to being season ending. However, we were like, okay, what's the snap count going to be after Kyle Van Noy went down after 12 snaps? Well, look at this. Mike Green is right there with Tavius Robinson and Odafe Owe. He only had 3 snaps less than Tavius Robinson. Tavius was at 48. Mike Green had 45. Odafe Owe, 41. So Mike Green actually out-snapped Odafe Owe. So I think that with Teddy Buchanan and Mike Green, that shows you exactly how comfortable the Ravens are feeling with these two rookies that they've got at the linebacker position. I wanted to see if it's further down. I thought Tavius and Mike Green were both fantastic. Tavius Robinson obviously had that strip sack that set up Roquan Smith, and then Mike Green this close to bringing down Joe Flacco. He was all over his ankles, and Joe Flacco had to throw it away. So that's what's going on there. Do you have those photos coming up? This is from the Baltimore Sun. Here we go. You're the best. Here's the Baltimore Sun. There's Mike Green all over Joe Flacco, who barely gets that ball out. Oh man, did they give Joe a hard day. Oh my goodness. And then look at Tavius. You see the ball there sitting untouched after Tavius caused the sack strip, and Roquan picks it up. Again, Bobby, right here, because we know Kyle Van Noy is on the back end of his career. We'll see it by the end of the season. I'm not going to call it too soon yet, but I have a hard time seeing the Ravens pay Odafe Owe big money. So right here, these 2 images, that's your future. That's your future at the outside linebacker position with Tavius Robinson and Mike Green. And I got to say, the future, is not looking too bad. It's looking pretty bright at this moment in time.
Yeah, no, Mike, I can't imagine 40-year-old Joe Flacco is waking up feeling too good today. I'm sure that's a cold tub day for him. I'm sure that's a get yourself right day after the beating that he took, because again, Roquan was running after him. Tavius got him good there. There were a couple times, Marlon got him good once. I never tallied up the amount of quarterback hits that he took, but he was sacked a couple times, and I'm sure I could just tally him up right now quickly. Roquan had 2 quarterback hits. Tavius had 1. Mike Green had 1. Nnamdi had 2. Kyle had 1. And Adafe had 2. So there
9.
you have it. How many?
9 quarterback hits.
Yeah. So it's like, doesn't tell the whole story to say that he was sacked twice. He had 9 quarterback hits. He was under duress throughout much of yesterday afternoon. And I can't imagine he's feeling too great today at 40.
Okay, so to finish up the snap count, and we'll bring, and this is to set you up with the sound bites that you have from these 2 wide receivers. This is crazy. Okay, DeAndre Hopkins had only 10 snaps yesterday. Only 10. I think it was almost 60 that they had total on offense. Around 60. He had 10. He had 2 targets, 2 catches, 64 yards, 1 touchdown. We all know that the other one was very close to being a touchdown too. Originally ruled a touchdown, then marked short at the half-yard line. Meanwhile, Devontae Walker didn't have that many more targets, probably because these 2 are splitting wide receiver 3 targets, right? Devontae's 13 snaps, also had just 2 targets, had 2 catches, and had 2 touchdowns. These 2 right here, Bobby, when this is partially why the Browns had such a hard time stopping the pass game, because they did slow down Mark Andrews. They did slow down Bateman. They didn't let Zay Flowers have any touchdown catches, but they didn't slow him down. I think he had seven catches for 75 yards, something crazy like that. But then when you have guys, I was watching some tweets being like, who's Devontae Walker? Like, who's this guy? Why is he getting 2 touchdowns? Like, why are the Browns letting this guy have it? And we all know who Hopkins is, but people keep saying that he's washed. He posted a GIF earlier today where he's got that, meme where the uncle is, doing jumping rope on his butt, and he's like, Unc has still got it. And somebody photoshopped DeAndre Hopkins' face over that. Unc has still got it. I mean, DeAndre Hopkins and Devontae Walker accounted for 3 touchdowns, and most of the league hasn't heard about Walker, and the rest of the league thinks that DeAndre Hopkins is washed. When you can get that type of production, when some of your other big names are shut down, that's a good day in Baltimore.
Well, there's a cool relationship budding, Sarah, between the 2. It's kind of like a mentor-mentee. There's almost 10 years that separates the 2. How about that? DeAndre Hopkins is 33. Devontae Walker, 24, ripe in this league, was inactive a lot this time last year, and is starting to put some good tape on film, right? That 4.36 speed that we heard about coming out of the University of North Carolina. He dealt with the eligibility issue the first half of his final collegiate season in Chapel Hill, and then lit it up. Had a couple matchups with Nate Wiggins at Clemson that was talked about, because those two dudes both run ridiculous 40 times. They were running with each other stride for stride, and made for some good matchups at the college level. But I think it's cool, much like Odell Beckham Jr. did for this room a couple of years ago, that you have that Unc in this room that's not going to be the high volume guy. That, who knows, when it's all said and done, I don't know. I know Evan and I have been arguing about the whole needle moving statement that I made after the acquisition, and we'll see how that ends up aging. I'm on record for saying that I didn't think DeAndre was going to be a needle moving acquisition. That doesn't mean he's not going to be impactful for them, and he certainly has been so far through 2 weeks. He has been impactful, and clearly he's been really impactful on some of the youth within this room. Listen to Devontae Walker talking about a guy that he says he once idolized, that he now suits up alongside.
100% a touchdown, but it's surreal, seeing that. Like I said, I grew up seeing that. So, being a teammate of his, it means a lot to me. Even last week, I feel like when he got here, it didn't really hit me as much than last week. Walking out the tunnel with him, a guy that caliber, done it all in this league. Being able to look beside you and be like, dang, like that's my teammate. That's somebody I idolized growing up. So it's been great.
Devontae Walker from the heart, Sarah, quote, it was 100% a touchdown. First of all, backing his teammate there right in the end zone after, down at the half-yard line. DeAndre, by the way, in his press conference, we're going to go to a couple clips in just a second here, but DeAndre was like, yo, the league got this wrong. Like, he just straight up went after the league, said, I respect the league, but New York got it wrong. It was down, Sarah, after review at the half-yard line. Unbelievable 41-yard setup from Lamar to D-Hop. But you heard Devontae's here. It's surreal seeing that. I grew up seeing that. Being a teammate of his, it means a lot to me. Walking out the tunnel with him, being able to look beside you like, dang, that's my teammate. That's someone I idolized growing up. So again, 33-year-old DeAndre Hopkins, 24-year-old Devontae Walker, then and now. And D-Hop's still trying to say, nah, it's still now for me. He's showed a couple flashes of that so far through 2 weeks.
Well, and the love is reciprocal, right? So Devontae Walker looks up to D-Hop, and D-Hop loves playing the mentorship role. He had a lot of good things to say about Devontae.
I'm one of his biggest fans, so I was overjoyed for that.
Yeah, pretty simple and quick to the point there, but it was a really interesting press conference. All this sound, by the way, is courtesy of Ravens Productions in one of their cameras on the videography team in that scrum with D-Hop, because he wasn't at the traditional podium. This is in the locker room setting, and reporters just had a chance to get to know him a little bit and question a few things related to the game, all of which were, for the most part, positive. Now, DeAndre has, Sarah, to your point, heard quite a bit of criticism, as most 33-year-old wide receivers who are still trying to remain in the league have over the years. And D-Hop has been no stranger to that. He has a little bit of fun. You just noted the GIF. He's had some Instagram story posts, some right emojis over the last couple of weeks. Like, he wants people to know that he's still here. But the question that was asked was, does it motivate you? Does this online chatter, right, you being dragged almost in a sense, does it motivate you? His answer, pretty uplifting. Listen to this.
It doesn't motivate me at all. What motivates me is, my mom being blind, and, my father died when I was 6 months. Real things in life. That stuff is just funny games. I love interacting with fans, but I think I pay attention to more of the people congratulating me and cheering me on my back than I do the people that sit at home and all they have to do is speak negative about things. So I like shooting the breeze, but it doesn't motivate me at all.
All right. Ooh. Again, it doesn't motivate me at all, referring to the online chatter, Sarah. What motivates me, and everybody that's followed DeAndre Hopkins probably knows this, right? There's been so many viral moments, so many special stories written and talked about with DeAndre, and the special connection that he has with his mother, Sarah, who is blind, as he notes here. And he says, what motivates me is exactly that. And also, my father dying when I was 6 months old. Real things in life. Again, a simple, to the point, concise answer, Sarah, that has so much power in it.
Can you imagine being the reporter that asked that? And I could see either one of us asking that question too, because he called it fun and games. We've had fun with Grant Delpit, and we've had fun with Jerry Jeudy, and they're talking before the game and the 30th celebration. For sure, we've had fun with that. But is it motivating? Well, we saw Kyle Hamilton say no, not at all last week. And then this is like a veteran full of wisdom. Yeah. Just to have perspective, to me, is wisdom. And so, like, a lot of times, I cannot tell you how many people texted me after the Ravens lost to the Bills. Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm like, dang, y'all are acting like I lost a loved one. like, I don't know that people understand, even though I'm very passionate once we come on here. As soon as the game is over, as soon as our stream is over, Bobby, I've moved on. There's just so many other things in life to get to. And for him to have like these two things, losing his father at probably before he even knew him, right? Before he was even conscious, if it was at 6 months old, and then to like be caring for his mother who has lost her sight. And it's just like, hey, does this motivate you? Grant Delpit saying, oh, the secondary is no challenge, or excuse me, the other way around, that Jerry Jeudy said it's no challenge. And then Grant Delpit saying it's not hard to tackle Derrick Henry. Is this motivating you? No. But my blind mom does. Like, whoo. And he says it so calmly. And he says it so like, not in a way to like dig at people being like, oh, see, I have a better perspective than you. No, he's just calm. He's kind. He's nice. Like, I did not know DeAndre Hopkins before he came here. And every time I listen to him speak, I like him more and more.
It's a lot of fun. He's very self-confident. He understands who he is at this point. in his career. And again, I would urge everybody to go. It's only 3 or 4 minutes long, but that press comp, that little media scrum video that the Ravens put up on their YouTube channel, it's worth taking a close look. And this is how it began. Again, really simple stuff here, but him finding the end zone.
What does it feel like to get in the end zone? My answer, feels good to win.
It's look at the mean mug in there at the end. Like look, I'll just run that thing back.
Run it again.
Look at the look that he gives the reporter. Nothing crazy, but like to say, I'll pause it, right? I mean, take a look, for the audio only audience, he's kind of got like, I don't know, his face scrunched ever so slightly as if to say like, I don't really care if I'm directly involved in the game plan or not, as long as we're winning. And of course he wants to play and he wants to find the end zone. He's a competitor. But this to me, like just a dude that's really secure at this point in his career. He's a future Hall of Famer. He's the active leader all time in terms of receiving yards among all pass catchers league wide. He's somebody that's going into the Clemson Football Hall of Fame this year, Sarah, and somebody that I think it's pretty cool when you look at what he's done historically for this league at his position and the type of respect that he not only has throughout the league, but in that locker room. It's cool to know that towards the end of his career, maybe we'll see what happens. I'd like to think you would think he's on the back nine of his career. The fact this is all happening in Baltimore and we kind of get a chance to watch that unfold. It's cool. It's cool.
So Bobby, I didn't want to interrupt you in your groove. What was the question and what was his answer? It was so quick. I didn't quite understand it. So they asked him, was it a touchdown? And then he said, my response to that is we won the game. Is that what he said? Or did I mishear?
Oh, no. How did it feel to reach the end zone? And he was just like, it felt good to win the game.
Oh, it felt good to win the game.
Yeah.
So, okay. So how did it feel to reach the end zone?
Yeah.
Here's my response. It felt good to win the game. So to him, it's all about winning. Okay.
Yep. It was just one of those. Yeah, it was just one of those cool, like I'm going to completely downplay the significance of me. Yeah. And I'm going to go team. And the same could be said for Devontae's, really. And I had one other clip from Devontae's scrum with the media, and this was his vantage point of Roquan's house call.
See, I looked up like that's wrong. Like I'm thinking that's a safety or corner. He was moving on that. That's one of the fastest I've seen him move since I've been here. So it was fun to watch.
Oh,
Ted, is that Roe? Is that Roe?
Look up at the speed of light. There goes Zero finding a house call into the end zone to the crib, 60+ yards. And there's Ted, Sarah, in the locker room. John Harbaugh, I know you got a clip from this. Yeah. And hey, I'm going to use the bathroom real quick. If you could just go through this and then some super chats, I'll be right back with you.
Yeah, for sure. First of all, this shot is just awesome. This is John Harbaugh giving out game balls here. And he's like, hey, do you guys know how many career catches Devontae Walker has? And everybody's like 3. And he's like, do you know how many touchdowns he has? And this is him. Devontae and John Harbaugh both putting up, it's 3. It's 3 NFL catches, all 3 going for touchdowns. And as a lot of people have pointed out, Eric DaCosta once said that Devontae Walker reminded him of Torrey Smith, a second-round pick in 2000. When did the Ravens draft him? Was it 2011? Somewhere around then. And both speedy guys. Both obviously fast. And then Torrey Smith, also his first 3 NFL receptions were NFL touchdown catches. Pretty cool to see them. And if obviously Devontae Walker doesn't have the opportunity that Torrey Smith had because there's so many receivers ahead of him, but obviously I think Devontae would be happy to continue to follow Torrey Smith and the career that he had with the Super Bowl ring and playing plenty of games as a starter. Now, speaking of this locker room interaction, I just had to pull this one clip, but you know what? I'm going to save it for Bobby to come back because Bobby and I had a conversation about maturity. So I'll come back. In the meantime, I want to play this clip. We didn't get to see, those of us that were not at the game, we didn't get to see too much of the 30th season celebration. Made some clips here and there. So I just wanted to share this when Ozzie Newsome came out of the field, out of the tunnel, onto the field. Let's bring some audio.
First 2 draft picks.
So Bobby, just playing some, we didn't get to see too much of the 30th season anniversary now that you're back, but we got Ozzie Newsome coming out of the tunnel, and look who comes out after him. 2 more gold jacket wearers each one with a Super Bowl Lombardi trophy in their hands. Ozzie Newsome drafting these two guys with his first and second pick ever as the Ravens GM. Look at them all celebrate the 30th anniversary. That's a cool shot right there.
Yeah, this is special. Real special. Ozzie, obviously, like you said, we have it muted. I mean, clearly those of you that were in the audience, and you can hear it through the clip, if you were to unmute it, I mean, that place was rocking for him. His history, not only in Cleveland, but in Baltimore, and his the guy literally has multiple Hall of Fame careers built into one lifetime. He's really larger than life in a lot of ways. And I think a lot of younger people feel that way when they start to follow his career and knowing just that continued presence that he has, his role, Sarah, even though it really is much like Steve Bisciotti, both of those guys play such a role that's behind the scenes. And I think they prefer that based on their personalities. And so to see him be honored that way, salute to him. Cool moment, cool day, cool celebration. Awesome to see the type of participation too in the attendance from some of the greats that have come through the Ravens over now 30 years of franchise existence.
And I wanted to save this clip. I almost put it while you were gone. I was like, no, I need Bobby here because we had a long conversation about, not long, we had a brief conversation about maturity during the live stream yesterday. This is the very beginning of Harbs' post-game speech to the team in the locker room.
I'm so proud of is what I saw. I saw a mature, winning football team. A team that knows how to win games. And we already did know. You guys, we took last week, you looked back, you learned from it, and you ran into the smoke this week.
A mature football team, Bobby, mature. So
what a
that's
week
the way
it
it
was.
looks. Week one, it was immature, especially on defense. This week, much more mature. And he's right, though, in terms of like falling apart one week and not falling apart the second week. Players executed. Coaches stayed aggressive late. I saw Zach Orr sending blitzes late in the fourth quarter. They were throwing deep passes in the fourth quarter. So it was coaches, offense, defense, special teams. That was an overall mature performance. Next, they got to take those mature performances into teams that are actually playoff worthy.
What a messaging week it was, wasn't it? Goodness gracious. Just to follow up on what we learned about yesterday during our post-game live stream, now that the figures are out, Jadeveon Clowney's going to Dallas, Sarah, on a one-year deal worth up to $6 million. So that means typically the base value of this, I don't know. I mean, maybe it's out there yet. I haven't seen it. Probably what, 2, 3, somewhere around there. I don't know. This is like agent speak here, up to $6 million. We'll have to wait and see. But feels like somewhat of a miss, just given some of the uncertainty surrounding the Ravens up front defense, and particularly in this case on the edge, and knowing that Jadeveon can still give a lot to a team. And he went to Carolina, obviously, last year for a homecoming. Prior to that, in 23, the guy was stellar, absolutely stellar for the Ravens, and still playing at a high level. So he goes to Dallas. Obviously, they needed to do this. This was, I'm sure, desperate times, calling for desperate measures, knowing that they just let Micah Parsons walk out of their building to Green Bay. Yes, there was a lot of compensation in exchange, but Micah's Micah. It's hard to replace that. Jadeveon's going to give it a shot.
Jadeveon, those worth up to, those three words have a lot put into it, because according to Spot Rack, it's a one-year deal worth $3.5 million. So okay, the incentives in there almost doubles the contract.
Okay, there you go. Something to watch. We'll see what happens with the Cowboys. They came back in insane fashion, and the Giants collapsed big time yesterday in that NFC East battle. Overtime, Russell Wilson threw the interception after an unbelievable game, threw for over 400 yards. Not a lot of defense, though, in that game whatsoever. This one was caught, these two photos, I should say, were caught by the Baltimore Sun, tweeted out by Josh Tolentino at JCT Sports on X. Steve Bisciotti with then and now, Sarah. Joe Flacco, Lamar Jackson, of course, Joe's successor. They spent 2018 together. And Steve looking real cool and slick, little scruff there, looking like $1 million, and he's worth a lot more than that. This was pregame right there between two of his quarterbacks over the years.
Steve always looks like, to me, like he's just stepped off the yacht. Like he's got the linens, the white linens, and the cream, pant linens, and he's just like, yeah. Does he have a yacht parked down there at the Inner Harbor? Like, I don't know. He can do whatever he wants. Maybe parks it there, and I was going to say helicopters in, but he doesn't do that. But he does have that. I I know what he drives. I saw it all the time. Bentley. Oh, it was a nice Bentley. So, but there he is with 2 franchise quarterbacks, one a Super Bowl MVP, one a 2-time MVP, and hopefully he'll go on to be a Super Bowl MVP as well.
And Harbaugh also noted. Go ahead, Sarah. This one's for you.
A reminder, we mentioned this briefly yesterday, but questions about Jair Alexander. Here's the actual quote. John Harbaugh was asked, about him and whether he'll be back because TJ Tampa did play well. We all saw him get that 4th down stop on Jerry Jeudy with a textbook pass breakup, the way he reached out without, creating any contact that would draw a PI. But here's Harbaugh on Jair. He says, Jair Alexander is going to play good football for us this year. Harbaugh went on to say that he made the decision to bench him and that Alexander was kind of in his year. But Alexander is still working himself into football game shape. He's not there yet. But now he's going to have to compete because TJ Tampa did look good yesterday.
Yes, he did. I'm happy for him. Watch out for 27, man. Great pass deflection there in the second half. We'll see if that earns him more opportunities moving forward there, Sarah. Roquan play of the game. If you ask the Ravens, 63-yard fumble recovery and the touchdown off the house call and off the, of course, Tavius Robinson strip sack that we talked about. 15 combined tackles, a touchdown, like we mentioned, a couple quarterback hits sprinkled in there, and one heck of a day, Sarah. Agent Zero looked like Agent Zero yesterday. Good news for him. Good news for the middle part of the Ravens defense. Good news for Teddy Buchanan. And we'll see where this goes from here because Detroit's going to be a problem, and they are going to attack every aspect of this Ravens defense. Big test coming up on Monday night, 1 week from today.
So, Bobby, I think we have one other quick hit to get to, but I do have one more thing today, which I think it's my one more thing, but it definitely includes you.
So one more quick hit. Are you talking about Super Chat?
That's what I meant, Super Chat. One
Okay.
more Super Chat. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Did you do anyone when I went to take a leak?
Nope.
Okay. Everybody thought it was something else. Just so you know, everybody knows it was a 1, and it was because I had a heck of a workout today, and I've been sucking down water all morning. Let's see. We left off with Quan, I believe. Eric Hill letting us know. Hashtag 6K for LJ. Quan says, you know who also runs a 4-3? Keith Mitchell, who was inactive for the 2nd consecutive week. And Kobe Pruitt, Sarah, is back.
Says he's taking the princess to the zoo, but for quick hits, is it safe to say Burrow is injury prone now? I feel like the conversation around Lamar should have been aimed at Joe. Sounds like his season is over. I think it's fair to say that Joe Burrow has been injury prone, and Bengals fans and Joe himself might be able to look to that offensive line not protecting him. But when you have as many injuries as we listed off from, what was it, 20, I can't remember. There were like 4 or 5 different seasons where he had all these injuries. I know you're about to go find it. You're very quick with this. Here it is. 2020, torn ACL, MCL, PCL, meniscus. 2021, dislocated pinky. 2022, MCL sprain. 2023, torn wrist. And then 2025, this turf toe. So I think it's fair to say, that's got to be the definition of injury prone, right? When you have injuries that often.
Yeah, and then we obviously went on to talk about the lack of protection around him, which is always the context that's needed. And more than just, there's always context, just like there was with Lamar in 21 and 22. And I would chalk it up to fluke plays, really fluke plays that happened outside the pocket, or at times outside the pocket. Sometimes they happen inside the pocket. Dion Coleman, Lisa Schaffner, thank you both for believing in what we're building. We appreciate you for all the support that you give us. It's funny. Somebody the other day was like, why do you always say what you're building? Isn't it what you've built? I'm like, well, we continue to build. So it's like, I don't know. You can go both ways.
We built and continue to build in our building.
Yes. Thank you, Dion. Yeah, we got 50,000 subscriptions on our mind. We got a little bit of ways to go, though.
A long ways to go.
Dion, Lisa, thank you both for being part of the community. And thanks for all the support that you guys choose to give us on a monthly basis through Patreon. If you guys are interested in supporting the show that way, patreon.com/RavensVault podcast. A great way to do so, as is channel membership, as is simply liking the video, subscribing, hitting that notification bell. Consider becoming a channel member, supporting our brand sponsors, so on and so forth. And you have one more thing.
You have one more thing. Okay. I just need all of the Vaultrons to understand the partner in which I am working with, because I got a text message from Bobby that wasn't really a text message. It wasn't really an audio message. It was a video message. And this message came in exactly at 7 a.m. Did you plan it that way?
No, I just walked out at the gym at that time.
Okay, so that's good context. This is Bobby coming out of the gym and sending me this at 7 a.m. So I'm assuming you had a class at 6 a.m., which means you were probably up around 5:30. And I know you did your own show on your personal channel that ended at, I don't know what time you ended. What time did you end last night?
10:30-ish.
10:30. Okay. So this is what I get. And I was already up. I was up, but I was still in bed. I was like trying to scroll for some things for our show for today. I know you did scrolling at bedtime last night. I went to bed. Okay. So this is my partner at 7 a.m. ready to attack the day. Are you a Harbaugh? Attacking the day with an enthusiasm unknown to mankind. My text message at 7 a.m.
Partner, good morning. Just finished up at 6 a.m. and I did do, as promised, a post-game live stream last night. Take a look. This gym's gonna be awesome. Just got invited to a Thursday night 7 o'clock happy hour. Mom's gift right here for my Floridian ways. The seat, leather protector, I don't even know, but I'm drenched in sweat. Let's get it. Let's have an awesome week. We've been going such a mile a minute. I know we've acknowledged it, but our growth is incredible. Tons of gratitude. Love you and your family.
It wasn't. Wait, I thought it was cut off. I thought it was cut off.
The meatloaf made it in. This is my
Love you and your family.
Eric just dropped a 50 spot. He deserves one more.
Love you and your family.
I was going to say the irony is we haven't had a meatloaf super chat today, but of course Eric Hill obliges, right on cue. But no, I love this. And of course, I'm always pushing an agenda because I know you didn't have an energy drink last night. You only got 6.5, but we can get you to 8. Then you wake up, sleep and exercise is always more energy than a stupid energy drink is always more healthy. But I was already fired up and ready to attack the day. But here comes Bobby, just with gratitude. Oh, and then showing me some car protector from your mom out of nowhere. So random, showing me the gift from your mom that's supposed to protect you against leather in the Florida heat, which I'm sure is much appreciated by any of your guests that are sitting in that passenger seat. But I'm like, yes, this is how you build a business. This is how you attack the day. This is how you become an entrepreneur. It's endless fountain of energy and optimism, ready to attack anything that comes our way. And I absolutely loved it. I was laughing when that came in this morning, just absolutely laughing. And then the meatloaf at the end, I texted you immediately and I was like, this is my one more thing for today.
You
this
did.
Is my one more thing.
You did. And I was like, oh dear, what did I just say in that 60 seconds? You know what? Thank you. Thank you for the sentiments. As you know, I think it's the most important thing that I do to attack what we do every day, every weekday. It's ultimately, it gives me amazing structure at night. It keeps me disciplined. It keeps me fulfilled. I feel healthy. And those 5:30 wake ups, particularly after, a multi post-game show of the post-game show kind of night, it's a lot, and it's just a quick turnaround. But I joined this gym much like I did this summer in upstate New York, that's so community driven. I know very little people here in St. Pete. And so when you and I'm really trying to set myself up for the off season when, we're not as around the clock. I don't know. I don't have many people to lean on outside my cousin who's traveling all the time right around the corner from me. So to me, it's like the gym's important. And Kyle Van Noy news just came down. Jeremy Fowler notes that he is bracing to potentially miss multiple games due to a hamstring injury. Not a surprise here. That's according to Jeremy's source. He led the team, obviously, in sacks last year with 12.5. He's hoping, the team is, the injury is short term. He barely addressed it, Sarah, in his post-game press conference. And when I say press conference, his YouTube video that he's been doing on his channel. So Fowler says that multiple games potentially coming up on deck for KVN, who's dealing with a hamstring.
Well, that's too bad for KVN for sure. I'm glad it's not a season ender. Hamstrings can be tricky. So multiple games, it's like even once you're back, you got to still be careful as to not re-injure it. One of those, as Harbaugh always calls them, like a soft tissue injury. So, so that's tough for KVN, but there's obviously optimism that he'll be back. I mean, maybe after the bye, something like that. Maybe that's where it's putting him. And in the meantime, for the Ravens, Mike Green looked pretty good. Granted, it was against Joe Flacco, who's a statue quarterback. And so there's probably going to be some ups and downs going forward with the rookie. But that's where we stand.
Yeah, here you have it. Again, just breaking news here from Jeremy Fowler. Looks like KVN is going to be down. And Sarah, I wonder if that means that David Ajabo will be called up. He's been inactive for the first 2 weeks, so perhaps he gets a chance to join the room. And then to your point, let's go 99, let's go 45. Like, it's time to earn your keep here. And if you're Adafe's case, time to make your money. Else, we'll see where it ends up being. And if it's Mike's, hey, time to earn your stripes. Really, there's a difference between the two. So
yeah. And if this had happened last week, maybe the Ravens would have got after Jadeveon Clowney. But at this point, you're going to move forward with your youth. And to your point, they don't need to even call David Ajabo up. It's just not deactivate him type thing. So I do have one more thing. So I guess I have one more things. I just wanted to say, I'm not going to show this video, but it was super cute. My oldest son went to homecoming. He has been to homecoming before, but he's always gone with a group of guys. He actually had a date this time, and they were super cute. Came to the house, let me take pictures, let me do my whole mom thing. I got video, all that kind of stuff. And so really cool to have that happen. And then he brought, friends back here afterward, which just melts my heart that like my son likes to bring friends here and that his friends like to be here. And I'm like, okay, after homecoming, my house is the destination. I loved it. I absolutely loved the whole weekend. I like the high school energy he's bringing into our home with all of his friends. He's got lots of cute friends, had a really cute date. Just a really, really fun night to see kind of him growing up and having like another milestone. I remember you always have milestones as a parent, the walking and the crawling and, the potty training, coming out of a car seat and just wearing a seatbelt. And then he's got his driver's license and now he's got, a date to homecoming. Really fun to see that. So it was a fun mom weekend for me.
I enjoyed your reel. They were very cute together. I'm glad, Gardy, to your point, let mom be mom and was cool with that. Really cool. I mean, that's just, I was smiling like the unk that I am over here. I was definitely smiling. It looked like they get along well. And it was nice that you had a chance to kind of document all that. So congrats to the boy, to the oldest. I can relate to him on that for sure. Oldest of 4. He's the oldest of 4 too. So awesome. Well, great show today, guys. Thank you so much for all the support. I don't know. I don't even remember what I was saying before the KVN news came in, but basically just that I'm excited to, continue to attack this season, excited to be at this change of scenery and excited to get back to Baltimore this upcoming weekend for Lions Ravens. So for Sarah Ellison, I'm Bobby Trossett signing off from this Monday, Victory Monday, that is Ravens Lunch Hour live stream. We do want to say one more thanks to Gundry, a season-long partnership that we're now in. Again, state-of-the-art training and recreational facility in the Baltimore area, Owings Mills to be exact. They're awesome. Their entire team, awesome. And it's awesome that they continue to involve and incentivize VAULTRON, Sarah, to come through the doors. Again, code VAULT25. That's promo code VAULT25. Will get you a free firearm rental with a lane purchase. That does not include ammo. You can visit the show notes. You can visit the pinned comment right now in the live chat to learn more. And we thank Gundry for the opportunity to work with them this upcoming season. So for Sarah, I'm Bobby signing off from this Monday show. Thanks as always, Vaultrons, for spending some time with us here inside the vault. And we'll catch up with you on Tuesday, if not before. And I can't believe I almost forgot my video.
Oh, yeah. How did we almost forget that?
On the way out.
Thank you.
I would never forget, Eric. I almost signed off. I owed you one, even though I gave you a couple extra ones by running that thing back from earlier today. But Eric, you continue to be such a light. We thank you. Appreciate you. And we will have more from Eric, Sarah, later this week when we give away 2 lower bowl tickets, courtesy of his generosity. I want to say it's section 126, but we'll go ahead and look, and we'll take a closer look. We'll be more prepared for that coming up later this year, later this week, I should say. And now we're going to go ahead and sign off. Thank you, guys. We'll catch up with you on Tuesday. And as always, Thanks for spending some time with us.